Most people look at crypto and ask the same question: how much do I need to get rich? But that's the wrong question. The real question is, how much do I need to be early? Because in every major financial revolution, wealth didn't come from owning the most. It came from owning enough before the world understood what it was worth. And that brings us to the question everyone keeps asking about XRP. Is 1,000 XRP really all you need? Welcome back to Crypto Equation, where we go beyond price predictions and look at the logic shaping the next generation of wealth. Today, we're breaking down what 1,000 XRP could represent in the years ahead, why that number might matter more than most realize, and how the smallest positions today could become life-changing tomorrow. Let's start with this. The average person always underestimates exponential change. They assume progress happens linearly, one step at a time. But financial revolutions don't work like that. They move quietly for years, and then suddenly, everything flips. XRP has been moving through that quiet phase for almost a decade. The lawsuits, the headlines, the doubt, it's all been part of the early cycle. But beneath the surface, the structure has been forming. Ripple has built corridors across more than 70 countries. Central banks are testing digital currencies that will need liquidity bridges. The financial messaging system, ISO 20022, has gone live. The plumbing of the new monetary world is already online. It just hasn't been activated at scale yet. So, what does 1,000 XRP represent in that context? It represents access. It's a position in the system before the system fully recognizes itself. Most investors miss these windows because they can't see infrastructure forming until it's too late. They look for hype, not structure. But structure is where real wealth begins. When Ripple's on-demand liquidity becomes the standard for cross-border payments, XRP will stop being a speculative asset and start being a functional one. And that's when everything changes. People think 1,000 XRP sounds small, but what they're missing is the scale of the system XRP is designed to serve. Ripple isn't trying to build a niche payment app. They're rebuilding how money moves globally, trillions in volume every day. Even a small role in that kind of system can transform the economics of a fixed supply asset. It's not about how much XRP you have. It's about how early you understood its function. The question isn't, can 1,000 XRP make me rich? It's, will 1,000 XRP represent ownership in a system the world will depend on? Because once that happens, value is just a reflection of necessity. Patrick Bet-David, one of the most respected business thinkers today, said it best: markets always misprice innovation until it becomes indispensable. Right now, XRP is mispriced because the world hasn't seen it work at scale yet. But the foundation is done. The corridors are built. The partnerships are signed. Ripple has positioned itself as the bridge between traditional finance and the digital economy. The same way the internet needed a protocol to move data, the financial world now needs a protocol to move value. That protocol already exists. It's called RippleNet. And the asset that powers it is XRP. So when you think about 1,000 XRP, don't think about it as coins. Think about it as digital infrastructure. You're holding a piece of the future monetary web. It's not about instant profit. It's about early participation in inevitability. Because when this system flips from preparation to activation, everything about how we measure money will change. Right now, most investors are still looking at XRP's chart. They see volatility and think uncertainty. But volatility in early systems isn't danger, it's opportunity. Every transformative asset in history went through this phase. The early investors in Amazon, Apple, and even Bitcoin didn't make wealth because they had perfect timing. They made it because they had conviction before validation. The same logic applies here. The activation of Ripple's network won't happen through retail hype. It'll happen through global adoption. Quietly, mechanically, structurally. When that switch flips, the repricing won't look like a rally. It'll look like a recalibration. The system will simply need XRP to be worth more to function properly. That's how infrastructure assets behave. They rise not because of demand from traders, but because of requirement from institutions. 1,000 XRP might seem small today, but the system it's tied to isn't. Ripple's liquidity corridors already connect financial institutions across Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. Their partnerships with central banks are expanding. And the global shift to CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, will rely on interoperability. Ripple's network was built for exactly that. It's already compliant, already scalable, already connected. The only thing missing is mass activation, and once that begins, it's over. The opportunity to be early disappears. 1,000 XRP at that point won't be an investment. It'll be access to a closed system that everyone suddenly needs. That's what people don't understand. You're not betting on a coin. You're positioning yourself inside an infrastructure that's about to become mandatory. Once the world runs on real-time liquidity, the assets that make it possible will be revalued automatically. The system will have to price XRP higher simply to function. And that's what long-term thinkers like Bet David and macro analysts are pointing out. It's not a fantasy, it's math. Fixed supply, expanding demand, institutional adoption, global regulation. It's the same combination that's triggered every major revaluation in history. Gold had it in the 70s. The internet had it in the 2000s. XRP will have it next. The question is whether you'll still be early when it happens. The truth is most people will miss this moment because they're focused on the wrong signals. They want instant confirmation, viral headlines, or a sudden surge in price. But that's not how real transformations work. The most important changes happen quietly, in meetings, in boardrooms, and in pilot programs that never trend online. That's where Ripple operates, behind the noise, inside the system. And when the switch finally flips, the price won't move, because people suddenly believe it'll move because the infrastructure demands it. 1,000 XRP might not sound like much right now, but in the context of global liquidity, it represents early alignment with the inevitable. The problem is that human psychology isn't built for exponential thinking. We measure value in the short term, but financial systems evolve in cycles. The internet didn't become essential overnight. It took years of invisible building before it changed everything. The same thing is happening here. Every new Ripple corridor, every regulatory approval, every partnership with a central bank, it's all compounding quietly toward the moment when the system must function at scale. Once that happens, XRP becomes the engine. And that's when 1,000 XRP will no longer feel small. Imagine the world in 2030. CBDCs are live. Tokenized assets move freely across interoperable networks. Banks no longer batch payments. They settle instantly. Value flows as easily as data does today. That's not fantasy. That's the roadmap Ripple and its partners have already published. And every step toward that vision increases the importance of XRP. The more the world digitizes, the more liquidity it needs. And the more liquidity it needs, the more XRP must be valued to handle it. That's the mechanics of revaluation. When an asset underpins a system, the system decides its worth. And that's what most people don't understand. They still think XRP is a speculative token, not realizing it's designed to be the lubricant of a $150 trillion liquidity network. The value isn't in hype, it's in necessity. When something becomes necessary, price is no longer a matter of belief. It's a matter of function. That's what investors miss. The world doesn't need to agree on XRP's potential for it to work. It just needs to use it. And once it's in use, the math takes care of the rest. That's the quiet brilliance behind Ripple's approach. They're not asking for permission from retail traders. They're integrating into the plumbing of finance. It's the same reason most people never noticed the rise of TCP/IP in the 90s. They just woke up one day and realized the entire internet was running on it. XRP is the TCP/IP of money. You won't hear when it takes over. You'll just realize it did. So what does 1,000 XRP represent? It represents foresight. It represents the ability to recognize patterns that repeat through every era of technological change. It represents understanding the difference between price and value. Right now, price is low because understanding is low. But when understanding catches up, price follows instantly. That's how every undervalued system corrects itself. The moment institutions need XRP to function at scale, it won't climb gradually. It'll adjust abruptly to match demand. That's how repricing works. And once it happens, it won't reverse. The new baseline will be set by function, not emotion. At that point, owning 1,000 XRP won't make you early. It'll make you part of the system. But here's the irony. Most people who could have positioned themselves now will look back and say, I wish I'd done more. They'll regret doubting something they didn't understand. They'll blame manipulation, timing, or luck. But it won't be any of those things. It'll be conviction. The same conviction that separates those who watch history happen from those who quietly prepare for it. Right now, you're still early, you're in the window before the world catches on. And the best part is, you don't need millions of XRP to benefit. You just need to be part of the foundation. 1,000 XRP might not sound like much today, but it's not about quantity, it's about quality of timing. The people who recognized the internet's potential in 1998 didn't need to own all of it. They just needed to own enough of the right companies. The same logic applies here. You don't need to dominate the system. You just need exposure to the system before it's priced in. And that's exactly what holding 1,000 XRP gives you. A small but powerful foothold in the infrastructure of the new economy. Remember, this isn't about hope, it's about evidence. Ripple has already won legal clarity in the US. They've established partnerships across multiple continents. They're expanding into CBDCs, tokenized assets, and institutional custody through acquisitions like Metaco. They're not building a dream, they're executing a plan. Every new step they take reduces uncertainty and increases inevitability. By the time mainstream investors realize that, they'll be buying from those who had the patience to hold when it was quiet. The cycle always repeats. The few who understood early will watch the many rush in late. The market always rewards foresight over fear. And this, right now, is the foresight phase, the time when doubt is loudest and opportunity is greatest. 1,000 XRP is more than a number. It's a symbol of conviction in a future most can't see yet. It's not about getting rich. It's about aligning with inevitability before the world does. The beauty of this market is that history leaves clues. Every financial revolution followed the same rhythm: denial, doubt, build-up, explosion, normalization. XRP is somewhere between build-up and explosion. You can feel it. Regulatory walls are falling. Institutional pilots are expanding. Cross-border transactions are being settled faster than ever. The system is aligning, and when it does, it'll move fast. Faster than retail investors can react. That's why understanding matters more than timing. When the lights come on and the world sees what Ripple built, price won't ask for permission to rise. It'll adjust to survive. That's when 1,000 XRP will feel like a genius move, not a small bet. But by then, the opportunity will have shifted from accumulation to observation. You'll either be watching from the outside or participating from within. The choice happens now, not later. So when people ask, is 1,000 XRP all you need? The answer isn't simple, it's profound. It depends on what you believe about where money is heading. If you believe the future is digital, borderless, and instant, then XRP isn't optional, it's essential. And 1,000 XRP isn't just enough. It's a starting position in the infrastructure that will define global finance for decades. The story of XRP is the story of quiet transformation. It's not about noise, it's about inevitability. The question isn't how much you own, it's whether you understood what you owned before the rest of the world did. Because one day, not too far from now, the system will activate, the price will adjust, and the window will close. And when that day comes, 1,000 XRP might not just be enough. It might be everything you needed. This is Crypto Equation, reminding you that patience isn't weakness, it's strategy. The future rewards the prepared, not the reactive. Stay informed, stay early, and never underestimate how fast inevitability becomes reality. I'll see you in the next one.